Imagine you're barreling down a dark highway somewhere outside Tokyo, squinting into the distance, when suddenly, a blinding wave of neon hits your eyes like some kind of futuristic fever dream. Chrome accents glisten under a pulsating web of purple and blue lights. Airbrush murals are posed beneath strobing LED halos. No, you're not hallucinating. It's Dekotora, in a country famed for its quiet conformity and understated style. Dekotora stands defiantly loud and spectacularly gaudy. These trucks aren't just customized, they're shrines to excess and rebellion, personalized down to the tiniest glittering detail. Each vehicle carries the personality, dreams, and defiant pride of its driver, turning dull highways into mobile art galleries that scream individuality from every inch of chrome and neon tubing. But Dekotora isn't just about flashy exteriors or creating a visual spectacle. Behind every glowing cab lies a deeper story, one intertwined with economic booms and busts, changing societal norms, and a community built from the shared passion of making trucks shine brighter than the Tokyo skyline. To understand Dekotora is to dive headfirst into Japan's hidden obsession with self-expression, capturing a rare glimpse into a subculture that thrives precisely because it defies convention. Dekotora didn't just spawn out of the neon ether. Back in the 60s and early 70s, truckers were already customizing their rides. Not for show, not yet, but because it made the job suck a little less. They slapped on mirrors, painted up the bumpers, hung photos in the cab. The road was long and lonely, and if you had to live in your truck, it might as well look cool. So they did it themselves. No sponsors, no shop collabs, just pure, stubborn self-expression fueled by vending machine coffee and a total disregard for resale value. Then came Miyazaki. You're not gonna find him on a billboard or in a Netflix documentary miniseries. But according to the old school drivers, the ones who still flip through photo albums full of faded truck meet shots, Miyazaki was the first president of Utamaro Kai, one of the earliest Dekotora crews in Japan. He didn't invent the style, but he did something more important. He made it a community. He got on the phone, he called everyone up, and he said, "Let's do something with this." And what they did was show up for a movie. That movie? Toraku Yaro, known in English as Truck Rascals, a mid-1970s comedy action film series about two rogue truckers with loud rigs, soft hearts, and zero concern for traffic laws. It wasn't meant to change culture. It was just supposed to be fun. But it exploded. The moment those trucks hit the big screen, a generation of drivers looked up and said, "Wait, that's us. We can do that." Here's the part nobody talks about. The trucks in the movie? They weren't props. They weren't set pieces. They were real. Miyazaki and the Utamaro Kai crew gathered trucks from all over Japan, guys who decorated their rigs purely out of pride, and brought them in just for the chance to be seen. They believed that if they built something loud enough, unique enough, maybe someone would notice. And people did. After that, the customization arms race was on. Trucks that once had a few polished panels were suddenly wrapped in murals, draped in neon, fitted with enough chrome to blind an entire prefecture. It became a visual language, part flex, part folklore. A dragon on the side wasn't just a dragon. It was power. It was rage. It was protection. Every choice was intentional. Every screw turned with meaning. And it wasn't just aesthetic. It was economic. During the 1980s bubble economy, drivers had the money to go wild. And they did. Some trucks cost more than their owners' homes. Some drivers lived in their trucks and still poured every spare yen into making them gleam. Because when you spent 14 hours a day behind the wheel, that truck became your world. So why not make it beautiful? Dekotora started as working class art, built from grease, exhaustion, and pride. It wasn't asking for permission. It was too busy glowing in the dark. And thanks to guys like Miyazaki, it didn't just survive. It found its people. And once that happened, there was no turning back. If Dekotora were just about the trucks, it would be impressive, but maybe forgettable. What makes this culture magnetic, enduring, and surprisingly emotional is the tight-knit community behind the chrome. This isn't just a bunch of guys throwing lights on their trucks. Dekotora is a full-blown subculture with its own hierarchy, rituals, gatherings, and unspoken code of mutual respect. It's part street art, part family reunion, part protest against Japan's relentless obsession with sameness. Most Dekotora drivers aren't celebrities or influencers. They're blue-collar lifers, long-haul fishermen, movers, construction suppliers, men, and yes, it's still mostly men, who spend more time behind the wheel than they do at home. The truck becomes an extension of self, and in turn, the Dekotora community becomes a chosen family. There's camaraderie in the grease-stained details, late nights under a dim garage light, wiring new LED panels, buffing chrome bumpers until your hands go numb. These people understand the obsession, the pain, and the pride that comes with building a one-of-a-kind rig. They speak the same unspoken language of detail, and they notice everything. And then there are the meetups. Imagine a low-rider show crashed into a rave and staged at a highway rest stop. These aren't casual get-togethers. They're massive, glowing displays of pride and competition, with trucks lined up like runway models at a beauty pageant. Drivers travel for hours, sometimes days, just to show off their new additions. Some are modest, others roll up with six-figure customizations. But the vibe isn't exclusionary. Whether your truck is modest or outrageous, if it's built with passion and respect, you're in. Events like the All Japan Dekotora Federation's annual gatherings or local truck meets in places like Chiba and Fukuoka serve as cultural hubs for the subculture. These events aren't just about flashing lights. They're fundraisers, memorials, and social glue. Some Dekotora teams organize charity runs, using their rigs to raise money for natural disaster relief or children's hospitals. Others are there to pay tribute to fallen members, lining up their trucks in synchronized tribute, engines humming like a steel choir. It's part spiritual, part spectacle. These groups often operate like gangs, but without the violence. Teams have names, logos, even matching jackets. Loyalty runs deep, and reputations are hard-earned. Senior members mentor rookies on etiquette, wiring tricks, and visual balance. There's an old-school respect for tradition, even as the designs evolve. Disrespect the craft, cut corners, or try to showboat without earning your stripes, you'll get side-eyed into oblivion. Dekotora isn't for posers, it's for lifers. Even the online sphere has slowly integrated into this world, albeit cautiously. Facebook groups, blogs, rare video games, and YouTube channels now give fans just a glimpse into the scene, often curated by longtime members or passionate fans who act as gatekeepers. Unlike more commercial car subcultures, Dekotora still resists mass market dilution. There's a sacredness to it. This is a labor of love, not content for clicks. Anyone trying to exploit it without understanding it risks getting shut out completely. At its core, the Dekotora subculture is about pride and perseverance. It's about turning something utilitarian into something undeniably you, and finding people who understand why that matters. In a society where blending in is often a survival tactic, Dekotora drivers chose visibility. They chose noise, color, chaos, and each other. And through it all, they built a community as loud and unforgettable as the trucks themselves. The glow is fading, but it's still burning. For a while, Dekotora wasn't just a subculture. It was an explosion. Movies, magazines, games, and merch. The whole country caught a glimpse of the glow. You couldn't drive down a highway without seeing a chrome dragon rumbling past, painting the asphalt with neon scars. People outside Japan eventually caught on too, through grainy YouTube uploads, tourist Instagram posts, and those few rare documentaries that didn't just laugh at it. But while the world was just discovering Dekotora, the community back home was getting older. The trucks aged. The hands that built them shook a little more. Younger drivers didn't flock to the scene. They found other ways to stand out, cheaper ways, faster ways. And the world got quieter. Sure, the internet keeps Dekotora alive in pixels, posting the occasional Instagram posts and YouTube videos like they lived it. But that's just reflections, copies of a fire they didn't have to build. Because the real trucks, the ones still rattling down some freezing port road at 2 a.m., they aren't viral. They're just there, carrying cargo and history, glowing in the dark because they don't know how to be anything else. And maybe that's the saddest part. Dekotora never wanted to be a trend. It wasn't made to be marketable. It was built because these drivers refused to be invisible, because they believed a truck could be more than steel and bolts. It could be a life story, a shrine, a protest, a home. And even as the lights start flickering out, even as fewer and fewer trucks show up at the old rest stops, even as photo albums yellow and weld joints crack, the spirit's still there. In every bolt, every mural, every old man polishing a grill that hasn't shined right in years. The highways are emptier now. The glow is fainter. But it's not gone. Not yet.
昔はいっぱいいたんだけど